All right, we are. We are on air.
We're
And
doing something completely original, never been done before. You guys don't know what you're in for.
two white guys and two microphones.
Yeah, whole new concept. We're hoping it takes off. I don't know what we would call this, um, like a podcast.
I don't know, man.
This fucking
Could be
sucks.
could be a radio show. Could
Yeah,
be
we're gonna be the new. What's that guy that had on like Beetlejuice and like the weird like people? He made fun of them on radio.
I'm not big on podcasters. I may be making one, but
No,
I'm not big
it
on
was
them.
it was like a radio show. Howard Stern.
Howard
That's what
Stern.
it was.
You want to be the next Howard Stern.
Yeah, we're gonna be the next Howard Stern.
Okay, you want to act surprised at every little bit of information that everyone knows. Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
oh, he's on. I think he's on satellite radio. So
Yeah.
he's not necessarily a podcaster, but he's also like not like a mainstream. I mean, he is mainstream, but he's not like a, he's not your local radio station doing War of the Roses.
Yeah. Either way.
Okay, well, before we get started in earnest here, we should probably introduce ourselves
Yeah.
and what
This
this is.
is the Learning Curve podcast. In case you are illiterate and can't read the show title.
Well, what if you're blind?
Well, blind people are illiterate, right? They can't read. Or no, they can read Braille.
They can read
I guess.
Braille.
Yeah.
We're already 30 seconds in, and this is a disaster. This is the Learning Curve podcast. I am Cameron.
Bodhi, aka Trinky Dink, aka the White Tom Cruise.
White Tom Cruise is white. Okay. Okay. Yeah, welcome to the podcast, everyone. Before we get started, I just wanted to take a couple seconds to kind of lay out what this podcast is going to be about. I had a couple of friends in my circle that know that I was doing this project. It's something that we've been working on for a few months now. And they asked me, what is the podcast about? And I literally was not able to tell them. And so I've been thinking about it over the past couple of weeks, just trying to kind of cobble together a short explanation of what it's going to be about. And I think I have something. I think as it stands,
Start a timer.
Oh, Bodhi didn't start.
Sorry.
Technical difficulties, and we're only in episode 1. We're going to work these kinks out over
Yeah.
the process of many episodes, hopefully. But yeah, so when I had the idea for this podcast and I went to Bodhi with it, I was looking at society, and not to get to like Joaquin Phoenix jokery, we live in a society, but I was looking at society, and I've noticed a trend, at least since I've been an adult, so almost 10 years now, because I'm 27, of... You're 27 too.
No, I'm not.
You're 11 months younger than me. No, but I've noticed this trend of I guess you could say like individualism and isolationism, not necessarily like a geopolitical isolationism, but like it's me against the world. It's, I don't need anyone else. I'm really the only person I'm concerned with. And I think when you do that, it sets kind of this dangerous attitude where you shut yourself off to really meaningful relationships because you're not concerned with anyone else's well-being or their perspective. And I think it's beneficial to see two regular people. I know that I don't have like a trust fund lying around, and if I do, it needs to start paying soon because I got student loans. And Bodhi, I don't think you have a trust fund lying around.
Yeah, the only funds I trust in are those good old American dollars.
The Bitcoin.
Yeah, Bitcoin. My Bitcoin wallet going crazy. I just scammed this old grandma. So I'm up.
I've been waiting to drop it, and we're only 2 minutes in. You part of the Haktua coin?
Oh man, yeah.
Sorry.
I was
old meme.
Turns out whole time Haley Welsh was me. I just put on a wig. It's like a Hannah Montana thing.
Oh, Bodhi and drag.
Yeah.
Amazing. But no. So what I was saying is that I just think it's beneficial to see two regular people in conversation talking about life, the things that affect them, how it affects them, whether it be positive or negative. I don't think we always have to say, oh, I'm frustrated at this, or, what they say on Family Guy really grinds my gears. It just needs to be, this is daily life. This is how I'm navigating it. This is what I've done to navigate it. It's okay to say, like, I don't know how to navigate it. What are your perspectives on this? And really learning to accept those different perspectives, whether or not you're going to take that advice, whether or not something's worked for you or it hasn't. And so that's kind of where the learning curve comes from, is you have to really kind of sit down and really open yourself up to different perspectives. And so I think hopefully over many, many months and years to come, this podcast will help you do that. We'll talk about different topics. It's not going to necessarily be something too broad, something too specific, if I can actually speak right. It'll just be whatever's on our mind, and we'll just talk about it. We'll talk about current events. We're not necessarily going to be like a breaking news podcast, but we'll timestamp our episodes so that you know at the top of the episode kind of what the information we're looking at and what we're working with. And I think, we're going to just try to break down that barrier of not being able to look past ourselves and really take into perspective other people's viewpoints. Not necessarily, I think when we think about that, we think about political viewpoints, or we think about like religious viewpoints or anything like that, but just how we navigate life, because every person goes through life and does things differently, and you never know if there's a solution or a perspective out there that might work for you that you're not thinking of because you're being so consumed with yourself. And I think one of the biggest examples that I've seen of this is actually in the past couple of weeks with the LA fires, the Palisades fires and the Eaton fire.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of celebrities live in LA, so where they have second homes in LA, or, and Meek Mill, who I know nothing about besides the fact that he's a rapper and he's from Philadelphia, he tweeted something out along the lines of like,
that's the one that shot what's her face in the foot, right?
No, that's Tory Lanez. You're thinking about Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez.
Yeah, never mind.
No, Meek Mill dated Nicki Minaj. There's a little link there because Nicki and Megan Thee Stallion feud, but no. So he tweeted out just something along the lines of like, "Hey LA, you're in my thoughts and prayers because when I was a kid, my house burned down. It was one of the scariest experiences of my life. I like woke up and my house was filled with smoke, and it's super traumatic."
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people under that tweet were like responding to him, being like, "Why would you make this about yourself?" And it's like, that's not him making the situation about himself. That's him just empathizing with the people of LA. Like, that's how a normal conversation goes. If someone's saying, hey, this thing is affecting me, whether it be positive or negative, you might say, oh, I've also experienced that, and I know kind of where you're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this general attitude of like, it's all about me, it's never about anyone else, really kind of hinders how we have interpersonal relationships with people. And so that's kind of where this idea for this podcast came from, is, we'll sit down and we'll talk about our experiences. And Bodhi, you and I have been friends for 10 years now. I think we're at a place where, if one of us does something extremely stupid, we say, you're being stupid as fuck. What are you doing?
Yeah.
This is also not going to be a profanity free podcast. So if you're
just to surmise everything, it's just sitting down, having a conversation about different topics, getting different perspectives. It's not always going to be insanely serious. It's not always going to be insanely funny either. Just talking about problems or situations that we see, how we deal with them, our perspectives on them.
Yeah, I mean, I want our listeners to be a fly on the wall, essentially. I hope that we can integrate our listeners a little bit more as we build a fan base, hopefully, but
later down the road,
one step at a time.
Yeah, we definitely want to be taking like topic suggestions or like questions or input from people,
and we'll eventually work that in, but right now it's more so just us sitting down, having a conversation, and you guys are a fly on the wall. You might hear something that is helpful to you and you try it out, and now you come away with something better, or you might just think of something a little bit differently afterwards. And that's what we want you to take away from it, is that your opinion, your perspective is not the only one, and it's not the only correct one, and it's not necessarily always going to be correct. So but yeah, other than that, I have been literally so excited since last night, since I texted you about the goonicide.
Oh yeah, tell me about this. Dude, some guy almost just got hit by the mail truck outside. Oh my god.
We are recording. If you're not watching on YouTube, this is all going to be on YouTube. We'll drop all the links at the end of the show. But if you're not watching, we're in my living room because we don't have a studio. So, donate. But the goonicide.
Yeah, what the fuck is this?
I texted Bodhi last night. I said, hey, I want to tell you about the goonicide. Don't look it up. If you're not on Twitter, there was this story about this guy. So those coffee shops where like it's like essentially kind of like a Hooters but a coffee shop, like the girls
Yeah.
dress in like bikinis
Yeah,
or
there's like
whatever.
one down the street from my place.
Oh, there is.
Yeah.
Only one I know
It's
is in
called
Chico.
like Tulips or something, which
Yeah.
is insane.
I don't know where this took place, but there's one of these coffee shops, and I guess the guy was like an extremely like frequent customer. He's always a problem, and he pulled up. There's this video of him. He pulls up, and he's just completely pantsless, no underwear, no pants, just bricked up, jacking off. And the ladies obviously are like, the ladies working the drive-through obviously are like traumatized by this. They're like, you need to leave. Like, this is completely inappropriate. So the guy like speeds off because he, advances.
Did he get his coffee?
No, he killed himself.
Oh.
And so people are like, this guy's a shitbag, he's a fucking predator. He's literally it's indecent exposure. That's a registrable sex offense.
Yeah.
And, so people are calling it the goonicide because he killed himself.
Oh,
and so
my God.
Now it's like people are like, oh man, I just got, because he was driving like a Dodge Challenger or Charger, one of those fucking muscle cars or whatever. And so someone like posted on Twitter, was like, I just got a new car. And people were like, dude, you got the Gooner mobile. It's the same like color. And so it's just like all these things now. It's just like hashtag goonicide.
Yeah. That's
I've been in, it's like it's morbid to laugh at it, but it's like, this guy was a piece of shit. Like, I'm sorry, I don't have a lot of sympathy for sex offenders, like,
yeah, me neither.
But I just, the goonicide.
Yeah, sex workers are treated like such shit. Like,
well, they're not even sex workers, they're just coffee.
Well, I know, but
baristas.
it's like, in my mind, it's like tangentially related to sex work, just because they're like in their fucking underwear and shit. There's a very clear like marketing and like audience they're trying to target with that kind of shit. But just because someone is dressed like that, just because someone chose their job, doesn't mean you could just roll up and beat off. Like,
no, literally, and that's the whole thing. That's
still
like
gotta
what always
respect
like
people.
Baffled me is like, I don't really judge people's career paths as long as you're not hurting someone else. If you're
yeah, as long as you're not like a serial human trafficker or something.
I mean, you do what you got to do to make money, and it's like, I've always like found it just fascinating that some men will target women like that, whether it be sexually or just, kind of with their own words, degrading women for doing things like sex work or being, a barista in a bikini. And it's like, you like women. Why would you like degrade the thing that you like? Like it's like negging, It's like, I don't understand how that's going to get you any further. Like, if I'm attracted to one thing and that thing is like intertwined with another thing I love, coffee and like hot women,
coffee and boobs,
that's a win-win. That feeds my caffeine addiction and my boob addiction. I don't know why you would feel the need to like, make it creepy. Like, I don't know. It's just weird. It's so weird.
Yeah, personally, I don't think I would ever go to a coffee shop like that because I feel like a little uncomfortable. The same reason why I don't think I would want to go to a strip club. I just feel like...
You've never been to a strip club?
No. I feel uncomfortable being horny in public. So I cannot wrap my mind around...
I went to a strip club on like a Tuesday night one time.
A Tuesday? Was that like free wing night or something?
No, it was in Long Beach. We took Josh's brother.
Oh yeah, I remember hearing about that.
Yeah, we took Josh's brother and we went in and we got like a drink like on the house, and then we left. Like, it was like, we tipped. Don't worry, we're not total scumbags, but like it was just like we got a drink on the house and then we were like, oh, this was. We just wanted to see what it was like. We're just kind of peeping in. We're just kind of omniscient here.
Yeah,
but like it's a I don't know. It's like, it's fun, but it's also kind of like you look around and you see like a bunch of like. It's, you see the demographic of a strip club and you're like, that's why I'm like, bunch of divorced dads
divorced dads bricked up, like using their kids' college fund to like get some titties jiggled in their face.
You got alimony to pay, dude.
Yeah.
Fucking, and you're in a strip club. Yeah, I don't know. It's fun. It's cool to see. I can't speak for that because I'm not a stripper and I'm also not a woman, but like, I don't know. To me, it's like,
they make good money from what I've heard.
I've heard good things about it as far as like making money, and it's like, if that's something that empowers you, like, then go for it. Like, that's great. Own your body. I mean, you look hot while doing it. Obviously, like you're making money. So like, I don't know. You go in and it's kind of cool to like see it, and it's like, I don't know. Like, if you're just not into that, then don't go. Don't credit. Like, just If it's not for you, it's not for you. That's fine, but you don't gotta tear it down.
Yeah, just be a normal fucking person. Just enjoy your things. Don't try to like sabotage it or completely like overindulge.
Yeah, well, it's not even overindulgence. It's like the people who are like morally against like things like strip clubs or any kind
Hmm.
of sex work, and it's like not everyone holds your viewpoint, dude.
Yeah,
Just move on. Just if it's not for you, just move on. You
yeah,
don't gotta force that on everyone else. Like I'm happy to give my money to someone, you know, if they're working for tips like that. Like
yeah,
I don't know. There's just plenty of things that like I'm personally not into. Like I wouldn't really support it, but like I don't make that everyone else's problem. I just say, okay, I'm not gonna go.
yeah.
Like I don't know.
I think one thing everybody can agree on though is that corporations fucking suck.
Oh
And on that note, topic I brought today, the Teamsters Union is preparing to strike on January 31st because Costco is being uh uncooperative with contract negotiations. Their contract expires on the 31st, and Costco has always had this point of being like super like worker friendly and like we care about our
yeah.
people and shit like that. But at the end of the day, they're a massive conglomerate and they do not care about you. They just want like they just want more money for
Well, that's their
themselves.
goal is to make as much profit at little
Yeah.
cost to them as possible. It's to recoup
Yeah.
as much of the spending that they do.
Yeah. They
You
they
know,
had a practice strike
I
a
didn't know the
couple days
Teamsters.
ago.
I didn't know the Teamsters were
Hmm. They
Costco.
yeah, they cover like a lot of different
I
fields.
know they do, but I thought they were for. I don't know. Again,
Yeah.
I just haven't read a lot into it, I guess. But
Yeah, they just a little bit of info dump before I start expressing my opinions. Over the last year, Costco had a 135% profit increase. They raked in like $250 billion in revenue, of which like 7.2 billion was profit. Numbers might be a little off, but it's in those areas. And all they want is just a piece of the pie. You know, like the workers are the lifeblood of like any company. No workers, no money.
yeah,
And so they just want more of that. And a couple weeks ago, they had some contract negotiations, and the Costco people that like sit down with the union and discuss their contracts, um, just don't, or they just didn't show up for like 45 minutes to an hour.
yeah,
And then when they
yeah.
finally showed up, the union head or lead, I don't know like what the title is, but they were like, "Yeah, you guys need to be here on time. You need to take us seriously. Like we will strike and you will see how like effective we can be."
How you know how big the unions are there? Because I don't think I have a relative who works for Costco, and I don't think that store is unionized, as far as I know. Is it just a store by store
I
thing?
know it's a big union, like the Teamsters like Costco section,
Okay.
because they have a $130,000. No, it's more than that. They something with a one and a three and a few zeros on it. Um, Fund for when they strike, they can pay out the workers that are striking to keep their families like in their houses and
Yeah.
fed and shit. Um, but yeah, I see. Reason why I'm bringing this up, I see a lot of people who are, for whatever reason, opposed to unions, which I have never understood. Like, whatever company you work for does not have your best interest at heart. They may say like, "Oh, your family, we're gonna have a pizza party this weekend," but like, you would much more appreciate $5 more an hour than like a slice of pizza. And unions are really good. They're like the workers being collective, fighting back against like corporate um bullshit. And reason why I'm bringing this up, I kind of want to unionize my company a
You
little bit.
should.
Yeah,
You
I really should. I really
absolutely
need to.
should.
Cuz the way things have been going is just like fucking awful. But like instead of getting raises twice a year now, like every 6 months, they give it to us once a year. They're giving us like I have a job that is very dependent on if like local city and county offices are open. And on federal holidays, they're all closed. But they have been giving us less and less federal holidays off, and it's just a day where I just go in and I just sit there and I don't have anything to do. I can't do anything.
Well, it's free money, but
yeah,
I understand it's still, you should be
yeah,
getting paid to be
still,
off.
yeah,
You should
exactly.
be getting paid to be off, to be with your family.
And something that really fucking pissed me off. Our end of the year bonuses have been getting progressively smaller throughout the year, even though we have like doubled the amount of work that we have been doing each year. This year it was you get $20 for every month you've worked at the company. So I think I ended
so if
up
you work there for a year, you get what, like
$100 or 20 times 12.
20 times 12, 100 and
240.
We're not math majors.
Yeah.
I could do calculus, but I can't do simple math in my head like that.
Yeah, but I found out upper management $150,000 bonus.
Oh, no, yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
So
okay, so
like that.
A little bit of lore. Bodhi has my old job because we used to work together. So the first year I worked there, they gave me a $12,000 bonus.
Yeah.
At the end of the year, and I was like, this has to be wrong.
Yeah.
And so I like emailed HR because I was like, I'm not gonna like start spending this money and like, you know, then be like, hey, we caught this error. It's supposed to be $1,200.
Yeah.
And so I like emailed them and I was like, hey, I just want to confirm, you know, that this is and they were like, yeah, that's the correct amount. And then the next year they gave me like a $600 bonus, and I was like,
yeah. That's the thing.
What?
It's like you have all of these good benefits and shit, and then your company starts slowly stripping them away, and you don't have a way to like really fight back or make your voice heard or like protest against these dumb fucking changes. Like our company is probably the same thing. If I had to estimate based off the amount of work I did, we probably increased profits by like 200 or 300%. We have expanded and opened a new office. We've just been hitting like more markets than ever.
In California?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Stockton.
Oh. That's a choice.
It is a choice.
Sorry for everyone from Stockton that's listening, but
yeah,
that's a choice.
But yeah, and so that's why I want to unionize, because I'm like, okay, we are making more profit than ever. That's indicative in every upper management person getting $150,000 fucking dollars, and I got $800. Like, what is upper management doing besides sitting there making the worst fucking choices and just getting paid out fat fucking checks?
Yeah. I mean, we all know what upper management does. They don't do anything. I mean, I'm in a union now at my current job, and there's like days where I'm like, hate unions. Hate unions, because it's like they were like, oh, you guys are getting raises, and we're supposed to get like a 6% raise over 3 years, I think. And I was like, man, that's not even inflation, because when we got the raise, it was at the peak of inflation. And I was like, man, that's 3% less than inflation. Like, what do we do? That's not even a cost of living adjustment. And so like that was really frustrating, because they were like, oh, you got your raise this year, and I was like, okay. So I went and I looked, and it was like a couple $100 a month in raise. And then my tax rate on it, basically I was making like $100 more a month, and I was like, oh, cool. Like I can go grocery shopping one more time, but I already can afford groceries. Like, I mean, I can't. Like, I mean, you know, I'm not like rolling money, but like, you know, it's like, oh, if I need to go grocery shopping one more time, you know, it's not anything that's like actually substantial. And that's like the frustrating part. But then I found out that like the way that our union works makes it extremely hard for layoffs to happen. So like we could be going through like the Great Depression and I can't get laid off. We could be going through the worst of the worst, because without going into too much, obviously, like there are people that work for the place I work for that like people have been wanting to fire because they're just like, you know, they're just incompetent, bad workers, you know? And I guess our union makes it so you literally like, you have to really like work to fire someone. And so it's like, that's cool. Like, I mean, I'm not saying like keep bad employees, you know, but like at the same time, it's nice to know that like I have like job security. Like we could be going through the thick of it and I'll be coasting through. Yeah. But like at the same time, it's just like I get why people sometimes are anti-union, because like it really like with the dues, I think that's what people like, they hear you have to pay dues to it. Yeah. It's not a lot. It's not a lot. It's
been kind of ingrained into a lot of people that like unions are bad. They end up taking a lot of your paycheck, but at the end of the day, it's just like corporate propaganda and union busting to try to get you from getting what you deserve. Like I said, the workers are like the lifeblood of any company. Like there's no reason that CEOs should be making like 500% more than their least paid worker.
Well, no, that's the whole thing. That's like, I don't know. It's just like, I've always kind of thought about it because like there was a report out this year that like Tim Cook, because he took a pay cut last year, I think, to avoid layoffs at Apple. And everyone was like commending him, but his pay was still like $20 million.
Yeah.
And like, I think about it and I'm like, I understand why people like have the mindset of like, oh, I want to make all this money. But I also have this mindset of like, there has to be a finite amount of money to where it's like you reached a point where it's like it's now meaningless.
There
Like,
is,
does that make sense? Like,
yeah,
like if you gave me $1 million right now, tax free, just said here's $1 million in cash, go spend it. I know what I would do with that, and I could probably spend it in less than 24 hours. But if you gave me like $50 million in cash and said go spend it, but you can't buy a $50 million house, you have to spend it in multiple places. I don't know what I would do with it. That's too much money for me. And it's like, I don't need that. Like I could, put it in a trust and everything like that. But again, like I don't need, like if I'm making $1 million a year, that's enough. Like even if I have a giant mega house, like, and I don't even want a big house. Like I've talked about moving 1,000 times. We have 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom right now. I'm like, I just need a backyard and like a dedicated office space.
Yeah.
Like,
I think that is the number that it's like once you reach this number, more money that you get is no longer life changing. 50.
Is it 50?
Like up to that line, the amounts of money that you get are significant improvement steps forward towards both your own well-being and your financial well-being. But once you hit that, which like I said, I believe it's $50 million, you get like another 10 or like another 5 million. It's just like, well, I already have 50. This isn't really much. Even if you get like another 200 million, you're like, well, I was already set with this 50, so this is just kind of extra.
Right. No, and that's my thing is like it just always kind of like mind boggles me because I think if I'm a CEO, right? If I'm Tim Cook, we'll stay on Tim Cook, and I'm making, I think, so this year he got a pay raise. So now he's making like $60 million a year, I think is the figure. 68, I think it was. I could be wrong. I could be spreading misinformation, but who cares? But yeah, 68 million, right? Let's say that's the number. It's like the most effective in my mind, if I'm a CEO and I don't want my employees forming a union, the most effective anti-union like method of preventing that is to make my employees happy.
Yeah.
Because if you push them too far, they're gonna form a union.
Yeah.
And that's the crazy thing to me. And so it's like I've always said at my job, if I got like a 30% pay raise, I don't think I would ever complain about my job. I would feel no need to quit. I would feel no need to, really, like, I go to the office 2 days a week. I work 3 days a week from home. I wouldn't feel, I mean, I would always advocate for a full remote job, but like, I wouldn't be so adamant about it. I'd be like, I get paid enough to, that, it shuts me up.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not even 30% more of a paycheck. That's not a whole lot of money. I'm not gonna mince words. Like that's, it's so minuscule compared to like what the top earners get. And it's like,
yeah,
I don't understand. Does hoarding that extra, $10 million, because, well, so he weighed what, $20 million last year. He took a pay cut from 40 to 20, and now he's back up to 60. So does hoarding that extra $40 million worth your employees revolting against you? And it's like, I still would like them to form a union regardless, but like, if I'm playing the devil's advocate, shocker, a white guy playing the devil's advocate, like, the most effective method would be to take that $40 million and say, I lived without the $40 million before for a year. I was perfectly fine with the 20. Take that 40 million and disseminate it to the rest of the employees,
Yeah. And you brought up something else I wanted to say too. Even if you got that, what you said, like 30% raise, and you're like, okay, I'm happy, I don't really feel the need to like unionize or speak out against anything. I still think even if you are happy with your job, it is great pay, great benefits, like super chill, whatever. Still think you should unionize because it's just a method of having your voice and your opinion heard within your company. The reason why I want to unionize my place of
I'm
work
trying
is
so hard
both,
not to say the name.
yeah,
Me too.
is not that I don't feel like I get paid enough. I mean, I'm never gonna complain if I get paid more. Of course, I don't think anybody ever will. But it's more so the conditions that we work in, which sounds insane to say if you knew what I did. But we have had so many fucking issues with our office, and our company refuses to move us. Like once a week, the bathrooms will just go out. They'll be out for like 2, 3 days. I'm a big pisser. I'm a big pooper. I need that bathroom available. And so on those days, I just have to work from home, and I feel like I'm less effective. I don't really like working from home as much because I get distracted, and I'm like, okay, I've been working for 2 hours. Let me play League of Legends for a little bit. Um, and um, our during the summer, it was reaching like what 110, 112 around here, like fucking ridiculous. Our AC was broke. So we didn't have any AC, and instead of paying to fix the AC, our company was like, "Oh yeah, just go out and buy like a portable AC unit." So we did that, but it didn't fucking do anything half the time, and we had to have this like contraption of like fucking fans and vents set up to try to get all of the cold air circulating, and it was miserable. The heater was also out, and when it was starting to get really cold here, it was fucking freezing in the office. And with the way our shit is set up, everybody has like their own space heater, but you can only have like one on at a time, or else it's gonna trip the fucking breaker. And so like one of us would be nice and comfy and warm, and then the other like five that are in this office would just like getting frostbite on their fucking fingertips. Finally, we yelled about it enough that they fixed the HVAC system. But we also have a family of rats living in our ceiling, and it's
That's new. I
nothing
haven't
else.
heard that one.
Yeah, no, they've been running around for a little bit. They leave like little poops on our desk.
On your
Like the
desk.
most they have tried to do. These are rats, mind you, not mice. These are rats, and the most
You hear them in the
we
middle of
have
the
tried to
day.
do. Yeah, you can hear them running through the ceiling. They're
I couldn't do
caving
it.
in the ceiling
I,
above Arcelia's desk.
I, 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 I don't. Are they rats? Are you sure? Are you
Yeah.
sure they're not raccoons? Because that's a lot.
Well, no, because they poop like that big.
Oh,
Not
okay.
raccoon shits. I've seen raccoon shits. They're weird. They got like this like kind of webbing over them.
Oh,
But
okay.
um yeah, there's rats just running through our office, which is another like health concern. I
You guys are gonna get the plague.
no, dude, I thought I was going to, because there was a box of muffins sitting in the break room, right? There were 2 muffins left in there. I go into my boss's office and I'm like, "Hey, who brought those muffins?" He's like, "I don't know." Like, "All right, well, I'm gonna eat one." I was hungry. Went into the break room, opened up the box, saw one of the muffins. Someone had like taken a bite out of it and put it back, and I was like,
Oh
"That's
my
that's fucking
god.
gross." And so I grabbed the one next to it and I eat my muffin. A couple hours later, someone comes up to me and they're like, "Oh, hey, did you see the muffin in the break room?" And I was like, "Yeah, someone just took a bite out of it and put it back. Like, what a fucking asshole." They were like, "No, you need to go look at it again."
Oh
And so I
man.
went and I looked, and there was a hole chewed out on the side of the box.
Oh,
And
so the bite was
so
a
the
fucking rat.
rat, yeah, chewed through the
Oh.
box and started eating this muffin and then just took off. And
Yeah, that's it.
I
I'm
thought I
full.
was gonna get a fucking disease because I ate a rat muffin, but I'm still here. I'm fine. No disease yet. Um, but this is all just to say, like, even if you're satisfied with the way your company is treating you in terms of pay, benefits, days off, sick days, PTO, whatever you care about, um, there's always something they could be doing better, especially with so many different companies making record profits this year and just doing nothing to improve the state of their workers' lives. Um, so I want to unionize to be like, hey, this is just fucking unlivable. Like, we need to do something. We have outgrown this warehouse that we are in, and we need a bigger, better place. Um, yeah, that's
Yeah, I mean, even at my office, right? When I go to the office, like because we have a union, if there's anything wrong where everything isn't fully operational and they can't offer like a suitable alternative, they will just tell everyone to like stay home and work from home. Or
yeah,
they'll like send people home. Like we had a day where I don't even know how it happened because I don't know what internet provider we use as far as like our Ethernet. but AT&T screwed everyone's internet up on the block, and the fiber cable was cut or something like that. So they, like, instead of making us sit there all day, just immediately were like, just go home and start working from home.
Yeah.
Don't clock out. You know, I think it was like 1 p.m. at this point. They were like, just go home whenever you get home, work until your allotted time.
Yeah,
you get your commute paid for, like, you know, and it's like perfect, you know, like that's great. But it's also like, there's just, I can even think of conditions at my work now. Like, we're constantly fighting for more remote days because before I worked there, they were all fully remote. And then they did the stupid, like, okay, everyone come back to the office 2 days a week. And I have a coworker who hates working from home. He's never worked from home. He's in the office 5 days a week. And I'm like, dude, you're insane, but go off. That's your prerogative. But like, I'm also of the mindset that I hate virtual meetings. I cannot stand virtual meetings. So like, everyone else on my team is like, yeah, no, like, if we have meetings, we'll gladly come in any day of the week. You know, whatever day you want to schedule it, just let us know so we know when we to come in. But like, our job, we never touch physical stuff ever. Like, we could do digital stuff all day and never need to use our printers if we really didn't want to, but we're still forced to be there 2 days a week. And it's like, that's our thing with our union right now, is we're like, can we get 4 days a week? Like, what is the significance of 2? Because we don't even talk to each other.
Yeah.
Like, we talk to each other, but we don't go around to our like desks and like have chats. Like, we literally like chat over Teams. So it's like, you know, it's like, what is the actual benefit? You can't sit here and tell me it's culture or it's cost saving or anything like that, because everyone's job is getting done. Like, if your job's not getting done, you're gonna, like, you know, you're gonna get caught not doing your job, because the stuff we do is like actually serious. And like, it's all on like deadlines, and my supervisor needs to like sign off on everything that goes out. So if you're just not sending stuff over to be like processed, it's like, my supervisor is going to be like, hey, what are you actually doing today? What is your workload? And then if you're like, oh, I don't have anything, then she's like, okay, well, let me find something for you to actually do. And so it's like, working from home, like, I do actual work when I work from home. I just don't have to commute 45 minutes into my office.
Yeah.
Like, I don't waste, I get off at 4, but I usually work 9 hours a day because I like my overtime. I get off at 5. I don't get home until 6. I live and work in the same city, just different zip codes. It takes me 45 minutes to get home because of traffic. And so it's like, on days I work from home, like yesterday, I just shut my laptop and I'm done. If I'm staying home, I'm staying home. But if not, I can go do what I need to do an hour early.
Yeah, dude, man, you talking about traffic makes me want trains so bad.
We need trains.
I love trains. I want trains. I
the
want
government
public
of California,
transportation.
if you're listening.
Oh, that's fucking Gavin Newsom.
Gavin Newsom.
Gavin Newsom.
Why Newsom?
Because he's not cool enough for a threesome.
Oh.
I'm always pissed about how the money that was supposed to go to build high-speed rail was just given to
Tesla for Hyperloop.
Yeah. And Caltrans to add more lanes on the highways, and
stupid.
The rest of it, Amtrak, is to upgrade their existing infrastructure. But
well, no, that's my whole thing, is like, I understand, because like, I think
I just want fucking bullet trains.
Well, that's the whole thing, is like, I think a lot of people say like, oh, you need bullet trains going across, you know, the United States. And it's like, okay, I think that's fine, but you have to consider that there is a giant mountain range, like, bisecting the country. You know, so I don't know how feasible that is. Maybe a transportation person can reach out to us and let us know.
It's definitely feasible. But Japan is very mountainous, and they got bullet trains running all through the country.
And the whole thing is, I think the hub of transportation in the United States is obviously New York. Like, that's just, you know, no one there owns a car. Everyone takes a subway. You know, and then it's so densely populated and so densely built that, like, you're never more than, you know, a mile or so away from whatever you need to go to. But like, that's just not how California is. Like, you know, my gym is down the street from us, but it's still a 5-minute drive, which is like a 3 to 4 mile drive. So if I were to walk there, it would take me over an hour. You know, and so like, I can't afford 2 hours of walking. If I bike there, it'd probably take me like 30 minutes, but still, that's incredibly insane, you know, for getting there. But where we live, we have the light rails. And I know that transportation people don't think that light rails are the most effective, but like it's something. It's better than nothing.
Yeah.
And it's like I looked into taking the light rails myself to work because I have a light rail station right outside my office, and I was like, oh, 2 days a week I can literally read a book. Like even if it takes me a little bit longer than driving, without traffic,
it's still just so much better than driving.
Well, you can do something.
Yeah.
You can fill your time with something other than sitting behind a wheel, not being able to do anything. And that's the whole thing is like without traffic, it would take me about 25 minutes to get to work.
Mm-hmm.
If it takes me 35 minutes on the light rail, so be it. I'd rather be able to say I need to leave exactly at 6:55 in the morning because I work at 7:30, exactly at 6:55 to get to work at 7:30, versus me having to like check my phone every Monday and Thursday when I go into the office and say like, oh, there's 45 minutes of traffic today versus the 28 minutes of traffic, the other day. So now I need to leave at 7 and I'm still going to be 15 minutes late because I'm not ready. I'm not getting ready an hour early. Like I'm not just going to be sitting around an hour in advance, on standby, ready to leave. It's just like insane. And so I've like looked into the light rails and it would take me like an hour and 45 minutes to get there. And I'm like, the fact that we have a light rail system built next to the freeway, but we still can't get more light rails up here. And just like the metro area has like 2.5 million people. And that's the whole problem is we're so like sprawled out, but everyone comes into Sacramento for work. Like they come into the main city for work. So why not build tracks that take everyone back out to the suburbs and like, bus them in and light rail them in? I mean, there is a very
direct answer for that.
I know it's profit. It all leads back to profit.
Well, yeah, it's just the fucking big car. Big car.
Because they are getting
transportation.
Bigger. They are
fossil fuel.
They're getting. Have you noticed how big cars have gotten?
Oh my god, they're fucking gigantic. Like,
I literally.
There was a guy today when I was driving that he was in just like a massive fucking vehicle and didn't know how to take a turn like at all. It's just like veering into the other lane when they were trying to turn.
The cognitive ability of people to drive post-COVID, it's just
so bad.
It's gone out. Like people were there's a stereotype that California drivers are crazy, and they are, but they're a special type of crazy. They're like aggressive, but they know what they're doing. Like when at least in my experience, right? So you're in LA, right? You can't count on that person next to you letting you over to merge. You just got to cut them off, and they understand that you're going to cut them off.
Yeah.
Like it's a game of chicken, and if you win, you win. Like that's what it is. But like
I'm such a bitch when it comes to that because I just won't cut people off. I'll just miss my turn and then I'll U-turn and I'll go back the other way.
I get road rage so easily. People get really scared in the car. But that's my problem is like the other day, for those of you who are not watching and those of you who don't live near where we live, I live near a major intersection of two interstates, so I-5 and 80. And when I'm coming home, I can either take I-5 north-south or 80 east-west, but I have to get on I-5 north at one point to get home. But if I-5 north is like super backed up, I can bypass most of the traffic by going east-west on 80 and then do the interchange to the north. And so for whatever reason, I don't know why they built it like this, it's a clover-shaped interchange. And so you're coming from the left lane and you have to get over into an off-ramp that the north-south people are trying to go east-west on.
Yeah,
you know where I'm talking about.
Yeah, that is just the worst fucking thing in the world.
And the problem is that no one understands the zipper merge method, where it's one car from one lane, one car from the other, and repeat. And this person, and they had an Oregon license plate, by the way, so I'm not blaming this on Californians. But
those damn liberals up north.
The damn liberals up in Oregon. No, so they like decided that it was too much of a wait for because the car in front of them went in front of me, so then it would have been me and then them behind me. It was too much of a wait for those two cars to be in front of them, so they like got on the shoulder and like sped around and almost went into like the little divot. And I was just like, you're the reason traffic exists. Like I hate cars. I really do. I really like walking. I would bike everywhere if I could. I've mulled around getting a motorcycle, but my mom quite literally would kick me off the insurance if I did that because I'm still on my mom's insurance. But I've mulled around like compact things, and that's the thing that really like it just confuses me because I see people driving around like where I work in my office. I work in a business park, similar to like the area, not the same area, but like the same structure of where you work.
Yeah.
And I see like lifted trucks parked in the thing, and I'm like, my guy, we work in an office. Why are you commuting in like an F-350?
Yeah.
Like what are you doing? Like, do you live in like the country and on a farm? And if so, why do you have an office job? Why do you not have an agricultural job? Because this is the whole thing is like, there are those, I don't know what they're called. The trucks, I call them the China trucks because I only see them ever like in like Chinese media, but they're like the ones where it's like a rounded front cab, like a moving truck, but then they have like a flat bed in the back. I see them really, like if you look at
they're
content,
like really tiny.
Yeah, they're kind of tiny. They only have like it's a bench seat in the front. It's 3 seats. Yeah. And I only see them ever like in like Asian media. I guess I should call them like Asian trucks, not Chinese.
No, but I think you're talking about a K truck.
I think that's what I'm gonna hold on.
It's like a really tiny kind of compact truck. I believe they're mainly in Japan, but of course they're exported everywhere else.
I always it's one of those things where it's like it's Asian media. Yeah, that's where I see it in. But I distinctly remember seeing a movie set in China, and they were in it, and that's where I was like, okay, that was these things.
Yeah, that was.
I don't know what
movie you were talking about. Was it Transformers: Dark of the Moon?
Maybe.
Like, I'm not even fucking around.
It could be. It could be.
In one of the Transformers movies, they went to China or something.
I just remember seeing them in a movie, and it was in China, and I was like,
no,
okay.
It was Rise of the Beast.
But those trucks, I know they're super efficient, right? Yeah. So it's like, okay, but if they
have bigger beds than like a lot of these lifted F-350s.
That's the whole thing. Is I look at like F-150s now, and the beds are super small.
So big.
Like I forget what the context was, but I had to like put something in my car that was like kind of big, and someone was like, oh, should we use the SUV? And I was like, no, my seats go down. Like what? Like I and for context, I drive a hatchback for everyone that's listening. And it's like for me, when I went to get a new car, because I had a RAV4 before I got my car that I have now. And I was like, my mom was like, oh, are you going to get another SUV? And I was like, the reason I had an SUV before was because I lived in the snow. Yeah. Like that was I lived up in Reno, and I lived in the mountains, and like I was, but my car now as a hatchback can still navigate the snow. I have absolutely zero reason. My dog fits perfectly in the back of my car. Mm-hmm. Like he doesn't go in the trunk. He goes in my back seat. He has a little car seat back there. And so it's like, I've never understood this thing of like, I need a big car. Even my mom, she like went out, she had a Suburban. And then
she got like some murdered out.
We call it, if you've ever seen Criminal Minds, the main character Hotch. We call the car Hotch because it's like black rims, like super dark, like shiny tires. The windows are maxed out tinted on the back. It's a Toyota Sequoia, whatever the big SUV is, the big version of the 4Runner. And she was like, I need it for the dogs. And I was like, okay, we do have pretty big dogs. We have 2 Husky Malamute mixes. They're both over 100 pounds. But like at the same time, like a normal SUV with the seats down would fit those, because this is the whole thing. If in her car now we take those 2 dogs, no one else can sit in the back seat because the dogs are there. So it's like, even if she were to have like my RAV4's back seats went down, it would fit 2 dogs. I've done it before because I lived with them when I had the RAV4, and I would frequently put them in the trunk with the seats down, and they would walk around my RAV4. It just takes your space down from 5 seats to 2 seats. But like even in my mom's car now, and she like will have me drive the car sometimes when we go do stuff together, and I'm like, this car is so big, I feel like I'm going to hit someone. Yeah. And like I'll be fine, but if I hit someone, I'm definitely killing them. Yeah. And I can't see over the hood. It's just, I don't know.
It's all more vanity rather than utility now.
Well, I don't understand the big. I just don't. I don't understand why bigger is better for some reason. Like I would rather have a small time. Like I almost got a Miata. Those are little Hot Wheel cars. I feel like if I even got like
go-karts that can go on the freeway.
Yeah, I feel like if I got scraped by like a motorcycle, I would get that car totaled. But like, when I went and got my car, I literally was like, I don't want anything bigger than a sedan. because I don't have a reason. Like, I want something that's fuel efficient. I want something that's compact. Like, I live in a metro area. I don't live in like the middle of rural Nebraska, and I'm not like, oh, I gotta, tow this hay around, or I have these horses to tow. If I had like horses, if I had, an agricultural job, I would be more privy to getting a truck. But even like in high school, I had that big fucking blue truck that was like a
Yeah.
monster truck. And I hated driving it because I was like, I live across the street from school, and the only reason I have this is just because I don't want to walk. Like,
Yeah.
and it was the cheapest car we could find at the time. But like at the same time, it's just like,
Yeah.
the grill was like 3-4 feet off the ground. And I'm like, I can't even see a kid,
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't with these.
Yeah. We are getting towards the end, and before we do, I want to talk about one more thing. Have you been seeing all the Xiaohongshu stuff? The Red Note? Yeah, the TikTok ban looks like it's gonna go forward tomorrow. We were going to make a TikTok account, but seems
President
kind of
Trump,
futile.
Save us.
Yeah. But no, yeah, a bunch of people have been getting onto Xiaohongshu or Red Note, and this is like they call it the tunnel under the Great Firewall that China has around it. For like the first time in forever, Americans and Chinese people are interacting like online.
As if you can't freely travel between us and China.
Yeah, but it's like helping to break down a bunch of like stereotypes and shit that Americans have about Chinese people. We just hate China, and we have been conditioned to hate China.
I saw the most randomly based take on Twitter the other day. I was I had to like pause and like sit down because someone was like, "Hey, can someone explain to me why we hate China? Like, can someone legitimately explain to me?"
Yeah,
and give me a good
nobody
reason?
can.
And the person responded and said, "We do not hate the Chinese people. The Americans and Chinese don't hate each other, but China's government has historically been imperialist, expansionist, and quite frankly dangerous, and that's not untrue.
That's any different than
that's
our
not different from the United States, but it's still true." And I was like, perfect, amazingly based take, because there are some people on there that are like, oh, Chinese people are realizing that like we police homelessness here.
Yeah, they were flabbergasted.
Do we not remember the videos coming out of Hong Kong back in 2018? Like, the state of China treats their citizens almost no differently. They just treat the social welfare net a little more seriously.
Yeah.
Because like they don't want to deal with it, but they still like, I don't know. It's great that like people are interacting, but that is a state-run app. That's a state-run app.
It is.
My data's already out on the internet.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not easily propagandized, so
yeah. I mean, what you were saying, there's like almost no. If you look at like an imperialist, dangerous history, there's no difference between like China and the U.S. But
for context, I don't believe in feuding between countries, man. I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't care.
There's just
I live in a border state. We live in a border state, and I don't care. I don't care about borders. I don't like it. In fact, I actually hate them because I remember going to Hawaii, which is part of the U.S., and you have to go through customs.
Yeah,
and it's like, dude, it's just dumb. Yeah, it's all arbitrary. Everything is made up.
Yeah, no, the Chinese people are flabbergasted that our federal minimum wage has not been raised since 2009, and this is really funny. They have English classes. Like a lot of places in the world, they will teach you English, or you'll know like fucking 3 languages by the time you're 10 or something, because education is actually valued and actually like useful in other places. And a bunch of Chinese people will be asking for help with their English homework to us Americans, and we are earnestly and honestly giving them answers. However, those answers we are giving them are turning out to be wrong because we don't even know how to speak our first language.
No, we trust me when we don't. I have a master's degree, and we used to have to proofread each other's papers. And no tea, no shade to my cohort. I love my cohort. I still talk to them, and when we had to like proofread other people's stuff from our class, like outside our cohort, it's just like you read it and you're just like, what? How did you get a degree?
Yeah.
Like all our entire program was based on writing papers and research papers. That's what a master's degree is. And it's just like, this doesn't make sense. It's not even about like using big words. It's like your grammar just doesn't make sense. You're misspelling words. You're misusing like punctuation marks.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know. English is a complicated language. I'm not gonna lie.
It is.
But so is. They speak what? They speak
Mandarin mostly.
And then what's the other one they speak in China? Is it Han Chinese?
Something like that. I know there's like an actual official language called Chinese, but it's not like the main spoken one. I could be completely wrong about this. Like I was just saying, American education is not the best.
The other thing you have to keep in mind too with America is that a lot of people, and this is okay. Look, I'm gonna go on my anti-European tirade right now because that's just who I am as an American. Rah rah, Eagles. Insert the eagle screech and the guns. One thing I hate about Europeans is they complain. I saw a video about this guy. He was like, what? He was actually Australian, which makes it even worse. You're a knockoff European. He was like, why do Americans always tell you the city or state that they're from when you ask them where they're from? You ask where you're from, they say California, or they say like, oh, I'm from LA. Why don't you just say America? And it's because
it's so fucking
America
big.
is 50 different countries. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Like the culture between like Lake Tahoe in California and Reno, Nevada, which border each other, drastically different.
Yeah.
The culture between San Francisco and LA, culturally different. Super different. LA and San Diego are their own cultural identities. So everyone speaks a little bit of different language. You know, I've met people from the South, and did you know, I didn't know this, there's a whole subset of people from Louisiana. I cannot remember, I think it starts with a G. I can't remember the name of it. It's a subset of the black population in Louisiana. They have their own language, and it's like a subset of like French and Cajun. And what's his name on the Supreme Court? Clarence Thomas. His like, I don't want to say immediate family member, like his, you know, his lineage from Louisiana is part of it. And they speak like a completely different language. It sounds nothing like English. But it's like a combination of like French and Cajun and English and all these other like languages. And it's like, that's in America. That's inside the United States, you know? There's just, the dialect is different, you know? I mean, when I learned Spanish in college, the dialect is different in all the languages. I mean, have you ever tried to speak Mexican Spanish to a Spaniard? They don't understand it.
I don't think I know any Spaniards.
Really?
There's no Mexicans.
Okay,
yeah.
So funny story. So when I took Spanish in high school, that didn't satisfy the need for a foreign language in college. So I had to take Spanish again in college because like I know how to speak a little bit of Spanish. This will be easy for me. We had to do Zoom conversations with people learning English in the US. So it was kind of like a little exchange. And I got paired up with someone in my first semester with someone from Spain. And you know that episode of SpongeBob where they're like stuck in rock bottom and the guy's like, I can't understand you?
Yeah.
That's literally how it is, because in Spain, they don't pronounce their T's.
Yeah.
They don't pronounce their S's and Z's. They pronounce them like THs. So it's
they lisp everything. Yeah.
And so like I was like, oh, ¿cómo está? And they were like, I don't understand you. And I was like, ¿cómo está? And they're like, oh, muy bien. Me too. And I'm like, fuck off. Fuck all the way off, man. But like that's the whole thing, is like even like talking to someone. I remember when I went to New York and DC in high school, every single person we met were like, you're from California. And I was like, what? And they're like, you have a California accent. And I was like, no, I don't. And they were like, yeah, you do. You say milk, you say pillow, you say hella, you say yeah, no, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh,
the thing,
that's a dialect, not an accent, my guy.
The thing I've heard about like the California accent or California dialect or something is we don't, or at least I don't pronounce all of the letters in a word. Like
Sacramento.
Yeah, Sacramento.
Not Sacramento.
Yeah, Sacramento.
Taco Bell. It's not Taco Bell.
Taco Bell, yeah.
Don't come around me saying Taco Bell. It's Taco Bell. It's
Mountain,
one word.
Instead of like mountain or however you're supposed to, mountain.
Caramel, not caramel.
Caramel, yeah.
It's caramel.
It's caramel.
Caramel.
Either way, I don't mean to invalidate everything that you just said, but I don't think it's a dialect issue with us giving them English answers. I think we're just fucking stupid.
Oh no, we're fucking stupid. It's just the literacy crisis in America. Read a book.
Yeah,
that's my homework
assignment. I read books with pictures. I can't fucking read.
But this is reading in any form. I hate people who are like, oh, reading a comic book isn't actually. There's words and pictures on a page. It's reading. You're reading words. Like it's about the thematics and like understanding the context of it. Like I'm reading a book right now, and it's about these like 3 different people who harm themselves to like make their art. So there's like one girl who like pops her eyes out to be like the camera. There's one girl who
Wait, like a superpower type thing, or is she just doing that shit?
No, like the way she powers her camera is she takes her eyeballs out and shoves them in the battery.
Oh.
Then there's another girl who paints, but she uses her blood as paint, but she uses her like lung and heart as like the brush. Right? And then there's another girl who like writes, but she for her typewriter, she drains her blood and like she can only write if she's like using her blood as ink.
Interesting.
And it's like it's a very straightforward book, and if you're reading it and not thinking about it,
yeah,
you're like, oh, this is stupid. But if you're thinking, it's like there's a metaphor behind that, and that's the literacy crisis. Is like people read books and they don't understand the context behind it.
Yeah,
and they don't understand like the use of like metaphorical languages and all of these devices in English.
Yeah,
and I don't know. It's like, don't come at me and say like a comic book isn't, because comic books have, or like manga, or that's what anime books are called.
Yeah, manga if it's from Japan, I think it's like manga or something different if it's from Korea.
Right. And all of these like books, they have themes in it. Like some of the most like, popular comic books like Watchmen. There's messages in there.
Yeah.
It may just seem like cape and tights, but there's messages. You gotta like, I don't know. It's just frustrating.
Media literacy is a conversation for a different topic. We are at the end of the episode.
I'm being rushed out. Fuck you.
Well, no, I'm not trying to rush you, but I'm just.
That's what I do best.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So yeah, we will get better with these episodes.
We are gonna get better. I'm glad that we finally got the plug pulled on this, the trigger pulled on this, I should say, not the plug. The trigger pulled on this, that we're actually doing this. So if you are listening, we are going to be uploading a video of this to YouTube. You can see us awkwardly sit here. I sit like I'm the first time at my man's house.
I've been so self-conscious about my seating position this whole time because I got this fucking box on the floor I can't step on. So why
do you think I'm in all black? I'm not trying to I'm trying to look skinny. I'm in hoochie shorts if you want to watch. You can stare at my thigh tattoos. I have hairy legs. Bodhi's in pants and a sweatshirt. But
yeah, it's fucking cold in this house.
I don't want it to be hot. I don't want to be sweating during this. I don't want to look like I'm going through a withdrawal. But yeah, we are on all socials. I am gonna read it off of my notes app here because
Instagram, Twitter, Bluesky, YouTube, Google Plus, Google Play.
Oh yeah, hit us up on Google spreadsheets, everyone.
Yeah,
just type message to us. No, okay.
Drop a link to our Google Sheets. The description. We can all type to each other on there.
Just one back and forth, little color coded things. Okay, let's go through them all. YouTube, Learning Curve Pod. Bluesky, we are also learningcurvepod.bsky.social. We'll post this all also in the
it'll all be in the description as well.
Twitter, we are at learncurvepod because we could not get the full username. Thanks, Elon. Instagram, we are learningcurve.podcast. Thanks, Mark Zuckerberg. We could not get that full name either. But yes, we will be back Wednesdays, every Wednesday, with an episode in your feed. If you are listening, it will be anywhere that podcasts are available. Make sure to
Spotify, Apple Podcasts.
Yes, make sure to like and subscribe, rate us, give us 5 stars, even if you think we're absolute shit.
I don't think we can say that.
Why?
Like, I think that goes against terms of service for some of the platforms. So people normally,
if you're allowed
just
to
leave it a review, whatever you think. Give us feedback. We need shit we can improve on.
Give us a review, but if it's 1 star, I'm gonna hunt you down.
This will be a learning curve for us.
Oh, not the puns. We gotta cut the episode. Cut the feed now.
All right, that's it. Bye bye. Until next time. See ya. Giving it before I got up.